Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good evening, everyone. Before we switch on aircon, this room is very hot. A lot of heat because of heat, you know. Then we switch on aircon. The aircon trying to absorb hot air and produce a cool air, you know. Now we feel cool. That is similar to Nibbāna. Yeah, because of aircon trying to drive away hot air, right? Then produce a very cool air. Now, very cool. So actually, if there are a lot of negative mental state in our mind, like greed, hatred, jealousy, delusion. So if those negative mental state in our mind, then our mind is not at peace. We feel very hot, you know, hot temper, and also greed. When we are very greedy, if we do not get what we want, then we feel hot in our mind. So those negative mental state are just like a fires. So if we can extinguish all these fires, negative mental state, then that is Nibbāna. So you will experience the cool feeling and the bliss of Nibbāna. Something very simple. Don't forget the definition of that one. But if you do not get that sense, that meaning, then you will get lost. Because today we will study a very important, very profound teachings regarding with the Nibbāna. If you do not understand, it stay okay. As long as you understand the real definition of Nibbāna, right? So Nibbāna means extinguishment of all type of negative mental state. So those are similar to fire. That is the definition of Nibbāna. So if you can extinguish a little bit of those negative mental state, which are similar to fire, then you will experience a cool experience of Nibbāna. So if you can extinguish a lot of peace completely, if you can extinguish completely, so complete Nibbāna. So actually it's very easy definition. So what we have to do is to remove all these negative mental state. Nibbāna Paraman Sukhan is Dhammapara. And also in Majjhima Nikaya, the Buddha said that Nibbāna is the higher placed. Nibbāna is higher placed. Actually, this is a very well-known verse from Dhammapara. Health is the greater gain. Actually, you all agree on that. As a Singaporean, you take care of health. Contentment is the greater wealth. Even though you are very rich, if you are not satisfied with what you have, your richness, your wealth is meaningless. So contentment, satisfaction is a greater wealth. Even though you have little, if you are satisfied, if you are contented with what you have, the greater wealth, greater wealth. The trusted friend is the best relative. Actually here, Vaisasa Brahmanyati, the person who is very close to you is the greatest relative. Even though you have brother and sisters, even though you have a lot of real relatives. So if they are not nice to you, they are not real relative. Only the person, only the people who are very close to you, then they are relative, the greater relative. Nibbāna is the higher placed. Actually here, Nibbānam Paraman Sukham, Sukha, happiness, happiness. Normally, when we hear the word Sukha, what we understand is based on our senses, So we are very happy to see somebody, we're very happy to hear something. So our happiness is dependent on our senses. So here, what is Nibbāna? So we will use one soda, a very beautiful soda, to talk about another dimension of Nibbāna. In other words, this is a continuation of momentary Nibbāna. So last week we talked about momentary Nibbāna. Actually, that momentary Nibbāna is based on vipassana meditation. So you clearly comprehend and you fully accept that 5 aggregate are impermanent. You fully accept and you have full understanding that 5 aggregate are impermanent. So when you encounter a big changes and a big impermanence in your life, and you fully accept it, you understand that this is the nature of the world. So everything is impermanent. So with that insight meditation, even though you encounter with the big changes, which may be unpleasant to you, your mind is not moved. You are tranquil with the power of insight meditation. So here, insight meditation is nothing but wisdom or understanding. Understanding that everything is impermanent. So with that understanding, with that insight meditation, you have a peace of mind that is called momentary Nibbāna with the help of insight meditations. So today also we will study momentary Nibbāna, another momentary Nibbāna, not with insight meditation, with the jhana. With the jhana is a higher one. Nibbāna Sukha Sutta in Gauttara Nikaya, chapter 9, Sutta number 34. So in that sutta, Venerable Sariputta is talking to the monks. Happiness, friends, is this Nibbāna. Happiness, friends, it's this Nibbāna. Nibbāna is happiness. Happy indeed in Nibbāna. For those who attain Nibbāna, so they are very happy. They experience the bliss of Nibbāna, Sukha. The bliss and happiness. When this was said, the Venerable Uddhayi said to the Venerable Sariputta, "But friend Sariputta, what happiness could there be here when nothing is felt here? If there's no feeling, you always say that, Nibbāna, there's no feeling. If there's no feeling, how will you experience happiness?" But here, then Venerable Sariputta said that just this friend, if the happiness here, that nothing is felt here. There's no feeling. For that reason, it is happy indeed. Normally, what we understand is happiness, our happiness derived from feeling, a pleasant feeling. That is what we understand. But here, Venerable Sariputta is talking that happy indeed in Nibbāna, happy indeed in Nibbāna. But another monk who is not very well educated, and he said that, how you will experience happiness if there's no feeling. If there's no feeling. So I think that is very important. Today also I will clarify what is feeling. So actually, feeling in Pali is a vedanā, literally means to know the object or to experience the object. As soon as internal senses, that's the eye, ear, nose, tongue, the body, and the mind, these are internal senses, come contact with external objects. So here we have 6 external objects: a visible form, sounds, taste, smells, the tangible object, and mental object, mind object. So these are 6 external objects. So when internal senses come in contact with external objects, then there is a feeling. Whether you are Buddha, whether you are Sotapanna, whether you are the Buddha or Arahant, whoever, if you have 5 senses, you will definitely experience feeling, vedanā. But of course, English translation of feeling will lead to misunderstanding. For that reason, we need to know the definition of feeling in Pali, vedanā, to know the object or to experience the object. So it is not an emotional aspect of the mind. It is not an emotional aspect of the mind. It just know and experience the object. So when Arahant and the Buddha know and see the object, they don't have like and dislike. They don't have it. So they know when they see a person, they clearly understand as a person. So when they see a problem maker, as a monks or nuns, whoever, and they see as a problem maker, but they don't have any dislike. So as a normal people, so when we see a person, a problem maker, who is making a lot of problem in your life, and dislike come in. Very quick, The speed of the mind is so quick that there's no simile, there's no example, the Buddha said. The speed of the mind is so quickly that he even could not show the example. The speed of the mind, the most quickest in the world. For that reason, when we see unpleasant person, when we hear unpleasant sound, dislike came in. So that dislike, because we don't have clear comprehension and mindfulness. So if you have a true quality, you hear unpleasant sounds, a muddy track always going, very annoying, If you do not have a clear comprehension and mindfulness, the embodied noise going, you hear the embodied noise, of course it is annoying, it's unpleasant. But you just know that you clearly comprehend Amati song as a Amati train song. So there's no dislike in your mind. When you hear pleasant song, if beloved one is talking, then you just know that he or she is talking to you. So clear comprehension, mindfulness, there's no like. But here, contact, just know and experience the object. Unpleasant object as a unpleasant object. Pleasant object as a pleasant object. There's no like and dislike. So like and dislike are emotional aspect. Actually, in the five aggregate, it is called sankhara. Sankhara mental formations or mental activities. Your mind start to, form, So like and dislike, these are mental formation or mental activities. So the vedanā, actually, of course, it is better not to use the word feeling, but now we're using unavoidably. So here, don't think that feeling is not an emotional aspect. It is just experience the object. Then you hear Amadi songs. You hear Amadi song. That is a pleasant or unpleasant in your mind. Of course, it's unpleasant. You just know it. Unpleasant song as a unpleasant song. That is a feeling. Vedanā is vedanā. So if you are mindful, if you have a clear comprehension, there's no place for dislike or anger. So because of that, because of feeling or vedanā, craving cannot arise. Because of mindfulness and clear comprehension. Here, meditation came in. So we are meditating to develop mindfulness and clear comprehension. If you are a serious meditator, and also if you are training your mind in a proper way, there will be no like and dislike. Anything. You just know unpleasant people as unpleasant people. Pleasant people as a pleasant people. Pleasant thing as a pleasant things. Unpleasant things as unpleasant things. That's wisdom, But if you have a like and dislike, that's a lobha and dosa. Right? Actually this is a normal way, it is a instinct in our mind. We're trying to, our mind start to react. Mental activities, come in. If we do not have a mindfulness and clear comprehension. Here, if with our internal senses, eye, ear, nose, tongue, the body, the mind, come in contact with outside object, as a contact. Because of contact, feeling arises. Feeling means you feel it. Here, I feel aircon. Now it's a little bit cold. If I'm not mindful, if I do not clear comprehend as a cool feeling, then dislike, a little bit of dislike might came in, That is here, contact, my body have a contact with the aircon, right? The air, with the cool air. That's feeling. So a very cool, very cold air, unpleasant, of course, unpleasant. That is sensation. My body sense a very cool air. Then if I do not practice mindfulness and clear comprehension, then anger might arise. I don't like it, too cold. So we install 2 new air condition. Some people complain that it's too cold. For that reason, we recommend to bring some shorts. So it is the best. Many people like a very cool weather. So here, as you have 6 internal pieces, you have a contact. When you open the eye, with the ear, you have a contact with the outside object. So if you have a contact, because of contact, feeling will arise. Or feeling here is sensation, or experience. Pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. At that point, so there is no like and dislike yet. But if you are mindful and clear comprehend, then there's no craving at all. No craving at all. If there's no craving, no clinging. No clinging, no existence. No existence, no path. No path, no death, no aging and death. Then that will be the end of suffering, right? So actually, Nibbāna origination will help you to solve the problem. Actually, everything is in the Nibbāna originations, you know? And I hope you understand what is feeling. Any question regarding with the feeling? Okay.
Hello. So, Bhante, to not have a tremendous amount of renunciation, right?
Yeah,
it goes
yeah.
back to
You're
the
right,
second
you're right.
and third noble truth.
Yeah.
That is the core strategy that we need to take. It's really the absolute renunciation back to the truth.
You're right, you're right.
Go with every day. Just
it's not really easy, you know. Actually, our mind tend to like and dislike. There is automatic response. For that reason, we call it asava. Asava is, in English, we always translate it taints. Taints are just like if you put alcohol in the bottle, then you throw them away, but you still can smell it. Just like the inner mind, lobha, dosa, moha are just like alcohol in the body. So tainted that very difficult to remove. We need a lot of tremendous renunciations. So we have to take care of the link in the Nibbāna originations. Because of contact, feeling arises. Because of feeling, craving arises. But if you are mindful and clear comprehend, craving cannot arise. Because of feeling, mindfulness and clear comprehension arises. That is another way of, on the way to reverse order, cessation order, right? If there's no craving, no clinging. So there'll be the end of suffering, the end of the problem. Okay, so let's go to the... Okay, one more question.
Question here. Basically, you see, let's say for instance, some people who like durian, you know, durian smell is very prominent. Either you like it or you don't like it. So for the same smell, or just like the aircon, might be a pleasant for one person and the next person for the same thing, you know, just like.
Yeah, you're right.
Because of the experience of our past experience, then we determine whether is this a pleasant experience or unpleasant. So there's already a differentiation at that stage. So not to mention whether any emotion arise, but classified pleasant, unpleasant, there's already a, you know, differentiation factor. You're not being impartial, you know, we're disturbed by it. So that's why we have this pleasant, unpleasant category, you know, for the same thing. Just like a cold air, some people like it, some people don't. So how should we treat this method? Shouldn't we lose contact or just ignore our past experience? We just say, okay, this is just cold air, that's it. No pleasant, no unpleasant feel.
Very good. Actually, we have today we will learn suttas that talk about the world. So we have a different world. So we see it passing. The passing is the same, but people see that passing differently. Cool aircon, the same thing. Some people see it as a pleasant, some people unpleasant. Maybe because of our past karma. So actually we have a different formation of senses, 6 senses. Actually, later we will learn about what is the world according to Buddhism. So I think by learning those suttas, I think we will understand that we have a different world. Even though you are living in Singapore, some people like Singapore, some people doesn't like. The same country, right? So how they see it, their world, their loka. So I think depends on their karma. I would say that their karma. Karma here means not only past karma, present karma as well. If they do not have, here again I will come to that, mindfulness and clear comprehension, or understanding or wisdom, and they will have on the wrong attitude. Even though the person is very good, even though the ego is very good, so people will see those objects differently. So we have a different, people have I have my own world, then you have your own world. Because we have our own 6 internal senses. The mind see differently, your eye see differently. Your mind think differently, then I think differently. Because we have our own world. So later and then we will study those sutta. So thank you, very beautiful question.
Bhante, I'd like to bring this just now a question a little bit further. When we have feelings, we take aircon as an example. The body touches, we feel cold.
Yeah.
Then we could have gone into another stage of what they call perception, that is biasness, whether you like or dislike. And then we will have a construct, what we want to do, and then whether we do a good thing or good act further on. Can we say that instead of just a pure renunciation, at the beginning when we feel the touch, we have already had a mindfulness of in terms of a dependent origin, or when it is very normal by speed of light, touch, feeling, go to perception, then go to your mind thinking of something else, and then we start to act. So is it a series of events that goes fast, or are they actually exclusive by themselves?
Actually, we in Abhidhamma, we call it viti, the process. So actually, when you learn Abhidhamma in viti, you will understand that these are the process. Not long, they are not lonely, they are not separately. So everything depends on conditions, the causes arises. So everything is connected. Everything is connected. So of course, regarding with the mind, we call it mind process. So the mind, so when we experience cool air, then feeling, we experience the cool sensation with our body. Then our mind start to walk. Of course, in the mental formation or mental activities, whether in the right way or wrong way, it depends on our attitude, our we call it our view or right view or wrong view. So if our attitude, our mind is based on the wrong view, it will lead to the wrong directions. So of course, it's a series of the process of the mind. So they are not functioning separately. Okay, a lot of questions. Today, aircon day, I think.
Bhante, to me, the definition as you put down, that feeling vedanā means to know. And it is not an emotional aspect of the mind. I think it gives rise to a lot of confusion because in English, when you talk about feeling, it's an emotional reaction.
Yeah, you're right.
So if it is vedanā is meant to be knowing, then why don't we call it knowing rather than feeling? Because then I think it eliminates the confusion.
Yeah.
Because the normal usage of feeling in English, it is an emotional reaction.
Yeah, you're right. I think we shouldn't use the word feeling. Because the translations or the Sutta, most of the translators, they use the word feeling. Actually, they follow their previous translators, I think. So, as they do not understand, but actually every language, not only in English, every language cannot convey the actual meaning of the other language. That is actually is quite obvious. But of course, vedanā is very important to know, to learn about the Dhamma. Of course, we shouldn't translate the word feeling. But instead of that, instead of translation feeling, how about sensation or experience? Knowing also. But if you translate knowing, it will confuse with the wisdom. Wisdom in Pali is the paññā. Ñā is knowing. The same thing. But of course, they have a different connotation, different connotation. I think it is quite normal that every language cannot convey actual meaning of the other language. It's quite obvious, especially when we are talking something with our mother tongue. If you are Chinese, as a Mandarin, you're very happy to talk. It will convey your emotion fully. If somebody is insulting you using your own language, you will feel upset more. If somebody is insulting you with another language which you cannot appreciate fully, you will not feel it fully. So what I want to say is, of course, English language also cannot convey actual meaning of the Pali, but even Pali itself, it cannot convey the actual meaning of Nibbāna. It will not convey actual meaning of our emotion. Actually, emotional language is more subtle. So if we understand in such a way, and it is understand, we can understand it. Why not we translate sensation? We sense cool air with our body. And we sense unpleasant sight, unpleasant passing. And we sense unpleasant sounds. Or we experience. So it is not an emotional aspect. Whether normal passing or even the Arahant, the Buddha, so when they see unpleasant sight, this is quite sure. Unpleasant sound, I say unpleasant sound. But the difference is, we're trying to react with the lobha and dosa. But the Buddha and the Arahant, they also react, but with the compassion, loving kindness, and wisdom, mindfulness. So actually, the sources, the root is different. Okay, I think I hope you understand the definition of feeling. But I think when we learn 4 foundations of mindfulness, I think you will understand better. 4 foundations of mindfulness. Actually, we have 4 foundations. The first one is kaya, the body, things that are connected with the body, that is kaya. So we have to practice our mindfulness based on kaya. If you can develop your mindfulness, actually easier. Then after developing mindfulness with your body, things that are connected with the body, then you will experience, you will know feeling clearly. Unpleasant, pleasant, neutral. So you will know it. So then your level of mindfulness increase, then you can move to feeling. Or actually, we are always using the feeling, is a sensation, sensation. Unpleasant sensation, pleasant sensation, neutral sensation. Then, if you clearly understand, and if you are mindful on your sensation, vedanā, then you can move to next step, next stage. That is the mind. So here, mind especially mental factor, a mental state, your mental state, you may anger, greed, etc., and compassion, loving kindness, etc. These are the mind. Then, if you can increase your mindfulness, you can go to next one, Dhamma, natural phenomena. They arises, they passes away, arises and passes away. So this is a deeper level of mindfulness meditation, mindfulness meditations. So I think even the 4 foundations of mindfulness, feeling is second, right? Based on the kaya, eye is kaya, ear is kaya, nose, tongue, the body is kaya. So based on those internal senses, you will see the outside object. And because of two contact, then feeling. The sensation. So anyway, we will still use the word feeling, but when I talk the word feeling, don't mistake it as an emotional aspect. Just sensation and experience. Pleasant, unpleasant, right? Okay. Then let's go to the Sutta, Nibbāna Sukha Sutta. So in that Sutta, before we learn the Sutta, we read this one, Brahmali, Ajahn Brahmali from Australia. He is the one who had Bhikkhu Bodhi. So when he is translating Anguttara Nikaya, Ajahn Brahmali is very well known. Of course, it may not be not well known, but knowledgeable Pali scholar. He always encouraged the audience trying to read the suttas. Suttas are very simple and also very profound. Very simple to read. But the problem is you have fear to read the suttas. But if you just continue to read, it will be easy. Because every suttas, the suttas are linking each other. So if you understand one sutta, you understand the other. So they're linking each other. If you read, you will become a good teacher, a good Dhamma teacher. So actually, as a teacher, you need to read the suttas. Ajahn Brahmali always tell the audience, read the sutta, read the sutta. These are very beautiful and simple and profound teachings of the Buddha. So in Bhikkhu Bodhi note in Anguttara Nikaya, Bhikkhu Bodhi added Ajahn Brahmali comments regarding with this sutta. Since Nibbāna is extinguishment of suffering, extinguishment of suffering. Actually, this is the other usage. Actually, extinguishment of fire, negative mental state, negative mental state. But if you can extinguish negative mental state, you extinguish suffering. That is the opposite, right? Opposite. Actually, third noble truth is dukkha nirodha, cessation of suffering. But when the Buddha taught second noble truth, so when the Buddha explained what is cessation of suffering, the Buddha used another term, another way, cessation of craving. Craving is negative mental state. So if somebody extinguish craving, they extinguish suffering. The same thing, the same definition. Nibbāna means extinguishment of fire or lust, hatred and delusion. In other words, it is cessation of suffering. Cessation of suffering is the reset. Cessation of suffering is reset because you're trying to extinguish craving, right? Craving. Ajahn Brahmali said that since Nibbāna is extinguishment of suffering, any partial extinguishment of suffering is a partial kind of Nibbāna. So for that reason, I use the word partial Nibbāna. Partial Nibbāna, momentary Nibbāna, temporary Nibbāna, they are the same. They are the same. In earlier Sutta, we learn momentary Nibbāna. The moment you practice insight meditation, 5 aggregate are impermanent. You have a wisdom and understanding. Because of that, you don't feel anything, even though you encounter with the changes and impermanence. So that is momentary Nibbāna, Tathēnga Nibbūta, because of insight meditation in that Sutta. But here, partial Nibbāna. So let's see what is partial Nibbāna. So here, partial Nibbāna means if you can extinguish suffering partially, maybe 10%, you attain 10% Nibbāna. So if you can extinguish 50%, 50% Nibbāna, right? It's very beautiful term, partial Nibbāna. So that means he used the word suffering, but we can use another term, extinguishment. If you can extinguish craving partially, if you can extinguish lobha, dosa, moha partially, you attain partial Nibbāna. Nibbāna means extinguishment of fire, of lobha, dosa, moha. So if you can extinguish 10%, 10% partial Nibbāna. But of course, 100%, that is not a partial Nibbāna, full Nibbāna. Very beautiful. Let's talk about the partial Nibbāna. Actually, I copy from the Sutta. Here, friends. Actually, Venerable Sariputta is talking to his friends. Here, friends, secluded from sensual pleasures. Sensual pleasures. It's actually in that Sutta. So Venerable Sariputta said that. So then that you see with your eye, hear with your ear, and smell with your nose, and taste with your tongue, and touch with your body. These are 5 doors, right? 5 physical doors. So you experience pleasant things. Then that is called pleasant sensual pleasures. Sensual pleasures. Normally, what we understand about happiness is based on our senses, 5 senses. When we see something, we feel very happy. But of course, that is happiness. That is kama sukha. So Venerable Sariputta used the word kama sukha. Happiness based on the senses. Happiness based on the senses. Of course, Buddhism also accepts that. That is a happiness. Happiness, kama sukha. Here, secluded from sensual pleasures. So that means there's no sensual pleasures in your mind. Secluded from unwholesome states. There's no unwholesome state like a lobha, dosa, moha. A bhikkhu enters and dwells in the first jhana, which consists of rapture, piti, and pleasure, sukha, born of seclusion from sensual pleasures. So if you do not have a perception or feeling of sensual pleasures, then you attain the first jhana. So at that moment, you have a rapture, piti, and pleasure, sukha, accompanied by thought or vitaka and examination, vichara. So this is a short definition or description of the first jhana. So actually later we will learn what is the first jhana in detail. But for the time being, trying to please understand that the first jhana means you attain the first jhana because you overcome sensual pleasures. So there is no thinking, there's no feeling, there's no perception regarding with the sensual pleasures in your mind. Just meditation object. Together with thought, vitakka, and examination, vichara. If while that bhikkhu is dwelling in this way, so that means he attained the first jhana, during the first jhana, perception, sanya, attention, manasikara, perception and attention accompanied by sensuality occur in him. While he is meditating, he attained the first jhana, but the thought of sensuality came into your mind. He feels it as an affliction, a danger, sickness. Actually here, the moment you attain the first jhana, your mind is pure from the thought of sensuality. But at that moment, the thought of sensuality came into your mind. But you think that is affliction. That is danger. That is sickness. You don't like it at all. You don't like it at all. So that means the first jhana is higher than sensual pleasures. Is it more rapture and more pleasure? You don't need anything. I always said that sensual pleasures, you need a lot of senses. You need a lot of objects. You want to see a beautiful things, beautiful person, you have to make a lot of effort. You may have to spend a lot of money. Right? You want to hear a good songs, you want to see a movie, then you have to go there and pay money, just to enjoy, And also you want to eat a good food, and you have to drive to the restaurants, have to pay, money. You have to make a lot of effort. That is called sensual pleasures. But if you meditate, you don't need anything. Just sit down, just concentrate on your breath. Then you are mindful. Then if you attain the first jhana, you don't need to pay anything, right? You don't need any senses. You don't need any person to enjoy the first jhana, the bliss of the first jhana. So for that reason, in Ratana Sutta, the Buddha said, Lata Mura Nibbūtiṃ Bhojamana. The Arahant, they enjoy the bliss of Nibbāna without price. They don't need to pay anything. They just enjoy the bliss of Nibbāna. But for sensual pleasures, we need to pay a lot, right? We need to pay our time, our money, our effort. So for that reason, to enjoy sensual pleasures, we need to make a lot of effort. But now you attain the first jhana. The moment you attain the first jhana, you don't have any sensual thought. You don't have any perception and attention regarding with the sensuality. Your mind is just focused on meditation object. Then you feel the bliss of jhana, rapture and pleasure. So that happiness, we call it happiness, is higher than sensual pleasures. It's not really easy to get jhana, but if you attain jhana, it's more pleasurable than enjoying sensual pleasures. Normally, enjoying sensual to see something, Of course, when we see pleasant things, we're very happy. When we see unpleasant things, our happiness is destroyed. So that is our happiness is very fragile to enjoy. And also, momentary, quite short. So, for that reason here, when that bhikkhu is dwelling, so during the jhana, perception, attention accompanied by sensuality, that means the thought of sensual pleasures occur in him. He don't like it. He feel that the thought of sensuality as an affliction and sickness, as a danger, as a danger. Just as pain might arise for the one feeling pleasure only to afflict him, for the one who is enjoying pleasurable or pleasant feeling, then painful feeling arises. Then he feel it affliction, he feel it danger. Suppose you are listening to good music, very pleasant, then somebody switch off your telephone, your telephone, then your pleasant feeling is distracted. You feel affliction, you feel danger. Then a good aircon, very pleasant, then suddenly aircon breaks down. Unpleasant feeling arises, right? So now you have a pleasant feeling because of a good aircon. Then if aircon breaks down, unpleasant sensation will arise. So that unpleasant sensation is affliction for you, or danger for you, and sickness for you. You don't like it. You don't like it. Just like that, the man who is dwelling in the vajana, if the thought of sensuality came in, desire to see, desire to listen, desire to eat, etc. These are sensuality. If the thought of sensuality came in, he thinks that is danger, affliction, and sickness. He doesn't like it. So too, if that perception and attention accompanied by sensuality occur in him, he feels it as an affliction. But the Blessed One has called affliction suffering. So that means for the one who is dwelling in the vajana, the thought of sensuality is suffering. You got it? Because the enjoyment of sensuality, sensual pleasure is lesser than, compared to jhana bliss. Is the lesser than jhana bliss. For that reason, he doesn't like it. He likes the bliss of jhana. So in this way, it can be understood how Nibbāna is happiness. Nibbāna is happiness. So here, in this way, hear me. If you attain the first jhana, you experience the bliss of the first jhana. At that moment, if the thought of sensuality came in, you don't like it, you see that the thought of sensuality as a affliction, as a sickness. So that means the moment you attain the first jhana, you experience partial Nibbāna. You extinguish the fire of lust, fire of hatred, fire of delusion regarding with sensual pleasures. That is partial Nibbāna. So the moment you attain the first jhana, so negative mental states are far away. Negative mental state cannot come in. It extinguishes partially or temporarily. Then we can call it the first jhana can be partial Nibbāna, or momentary Nibbāna, or temporary Nibbāna. For that reason, if you want to trying to close to the Nibbāna, here, Nibbāna Sukha Sutta show that the more one can attenuate the feeling, but here I want to use the word feeling, vedanā, one is closer to final Nibbāna. If you can try to lessen your feeling of vedanā, so you are closer to Nibbāna. So here, so when you enjoy sensual pleasures, So you need a lot of feeling, a lot of pleasant, pleasant feeling. So that pleasant feeling is so obvious, so obvious. But the moment you attain the first jhana, you don't have that type of feeling. The pleasant feeling regarding with the sensual pleasures. So your feeling is getting lesser and lesser. So if you can try to lessen or attenuate feeling of vedanā, then you are closer to Nibbāna. And I think if you learn attenuation of feeling, then you understand what is Nibbāna, partial Nibbāna, partial Nibbāna. In the first 5 material jhana, the feelings that are connected with the 5 physical doors cease. You don't have any feeling that are connected with your eye, that are connected with your ear, nose, tongue, the body. 5 physical doors totally closed. For that reason, you don't have any feeling based on the 5 physical doors. What you have is only one type of feeling connected with the mind. So for that reason, in Abhidhamma, Rupa, Arupa, and Lokotara, all these are just in the mind. Just in the mind. So we have a 6 type of feeling, right? But here, you all feeling that are connected with the 5 physical doors cease, no more. So those physical doors totally close. So your mind is just walking. What you have is only one feeling, one type of feeling that are connected with the mind. For that reason, you attenuate your feeling by attaining the first jhana. So in the second and third jhana, third 5 material jhana, the grosser kinds of feeling that are associated with the thought, vitakka, and examination, vichara, and rapture are subsided. So the moment you attain second jhana, you don't have a thought, you don't have examination, because your concentration is deeper and more stable. Because of that, you don't need to apply thought and examination. Automatically your mind is very stable. So actually, the thought is make you unstable. And examination also, trying to hold the object. So Ajahn Brahm always give the simile of a cup. If you hold a cup in your hand, it's shaking. Even though you try your very best, stay shaking. But if you put it on the table, stable. So here, the moment you attain third jhana, you don't need to hold the object of meditations. Your concentration is so powerful that you don't need to hold onto it. So the power of concentrations. So that means, the thought examinations, they are closer level of feeling. The moment you attain third jhana, those feelings subsided. And also, the rapture, piti, make you excited. When you see exciting news, you are excited. So your mind is not stable, shaking. And also piti, rapture also make you shake. Your concentration, your mind at that moment is shaking. But the moment you attain the third jhana, no more rapture. No more excitement. So your mind is very stable, just with the pleasure, sukha, just with the pleasure sukha. So that means the moment you attain second jhana, you intuit the feeling that are connected with the thought and examination. The moment you attain the third jhana, you intuit the feeling that are connected with the rapture. So you are feeling, you're trying to drop a closer level of feeling, closer kinds of feeling. Then, as you all know that, the moment you attain the fourth fine material jhana, the feeling that are connected with pleasure and pain are abandoned. That means you totally ignore pleasant and unpleasant or unpleasant feeling, unpleasant sensation. So your mind is, only with the equanimous feeling. So because of that, even though painful feeling arises in your body, you totally ignore. Pleasant feeling arises in your body, totally ignore. Your mind is stable with the equanimous feeling. So at that moment, you don't have feeling that are connected with pleasant and unpleasant. Your mind is so stable that it cannot be moved. The Buddha says it's just like a polished mirror. So the Buddha achieved, higher knowledge based on this one, the fourth fine material jhana. The fourth fine material jhana. So at that level, you have only equanimous feeling. You're trying to reduce the level of closer feeling. So the moment you attain the fourth jhana, okay, thank you. The moment you attain the fourth jhana, you extinguish a closer level, closer kinds of feeling. So that is a partial nibbāna. Normally, what we understand is, so we understand that if we have a pleasant feeling, you will have a very great happiness. But here, if you do not have a feeling, that is a greater happiness. So for that reason, we call it partial nibbāna. In the immaterial jhanas, the feeling that are connected with the form, rupa, are vanished. So actually in Pali, we call it complete surmounting of perception of forms. So the moment you attain rupa jhana, fine material jhana, you still have perception of form. If you are practicing breathing meditation, the breathing is form. You still have that perception. So if the breathing lost, then your mind is not stable. But here, you overcome or you surmount even the perception of form. You don't have it. What you have is the perception of infinite space. Infinite space. So actually here, in the immaterial level, immaterial jhanas, the mind is so stable that you don't need to hold a very obvious object. So actually the object that the meditator holds is very subtle, very subtle. The infinite space and the infinite consciousness. So these are very subtle points. So when somebody attains immaterial jhana, he intuits a closer kinds of feelings. So here, perception or feeling of forms is closer than feeling of infinite space. But during the fourth immaterial jhana is neither perception nor non-perception. The feeling drops up to the minimum level. You think that as if you don't have any feeling. You don't have any perception. Even you think that you don't have a mind. So at that level, the degree of feeling is so thin that it drops at the minimum level. So that means you can try to attenuate the grosser level of feeling. So at that level, so that means the more you can attenuate your feeling, the more you are closer to Nibbāna, final Nibbāna. So here, the feeling totally cease. Feeling here means cessation, sensation or experience. Feeling totally cease during the attainment of cessation of perception and feeling. Sanya, Virita, Nidora. So in that attainment, you don't have any mind. You don't have any mental state. For that reason, you do not have any sensation. You lost contact with the sensation. So you don't have any perception, any feeling, even any mind. What you have is only physical body. Physical body is functioning because of previous karma. You don't have a mind. The mind totally blank at that moment. So as a non-returner and arahant, so they can stay for 7 days. 7 days. So actually, as they do not have any feeling, any sensation, any vedanā, it's bliss. It's bliss. What Venerable Sariputta said that. So without feeling itself is happiness. The greatest happiness. Greatest happiness. I think when you read the Sutta, so you will understand that. So for that reason, the commentary said that in this Sutta, the happiness without feeling is mentioned. Happiness without feeling. Happiness without sensation. Normally, what we think is happiness arises when we see a beautiful things, when you hear pleasant sounds, when you eat a good food. That is what we understand about happiness. But here, Venerable Sariputta said that without sensation itself is happiness. For that reason, commentary said that this sutta talk about the happiness without feeling. That is the last happiness, the final happiness. But of course, when you attain a type of jhana, rupa and arupa jhana, at that moment, you trying to extinguish irrespective defilements, negative mental state in your mind. At that moment, you attain partial Nibbāna or momentary Nibbāna, whatever you call it. So at that moment, you don't have any negative mental state. You don't have a fire. Find out lobha dosa more at that respect, at that moment. So that is called Tathēnga Nibbūda, temporary Nibbāna. When you read the Sutta, you will understand that the less happiness is happiness without feeling. So finally, the feeling totally cease during the attainment of cessation of perception and feeling. Then attain becoming arahant. So at that moment, sensation, feeling totally cease. At that moment, they experience the bliss of Nibbāna. The bliss of Nibbāna. That happiness is the higher bliss. Nibbāna, Brahman Sukha. This higher bliss. Letta Mura Nebute Bonjamana in Retana Soda, the Buddha said that they enjoy the bliss of Nibbāna without price. They don't need to pay anything. Just sit down and meditate. And they enjoy the bliss of Nibbāna, right? So when you want to attain a stable Nibbāna, if you want to attain a partial happiness, then try to meditate. Then if you can extinguish negative mental state in your mind, then you will attain partial Nibbāna. But here, according to this Sutta, when you attain one of the Rupa and Arupa jhana, one of the 8 Rupa and Arupa jhana, at that moment you attain partial Nibbāna. But of course, when you become Arahant, that's a full Nibbāna, not partial one. So for that reason, when I give it a more talk, 3 types of happiness based on this Sutta. Nibbāna Sukha Sutta. Number 1, sensory happiness. When we see something pleasant, when we hear pleasant things, pleasant sounds, so when we smell pleasant smell, and when we taste a good food, when we have a good touch with our body, that is sensory happiness. So that sensory happiness is a temporary or momentary. It's so quick that we are seeing a pleasant person, pleasant things, then a unpleasant person came in. Your happiness is gone. It will not last long, it will not last long. So our happiness depends on other people. Our happiness depends on your family, depends on your monasteries, depends on your temple, depends on weather. Today, many of you cannot park at the MV. Your happiness is gone. So everything is conditioned, right? Conditioned. So our happiness depends on many conditions, many people. If those objects are not acceptable, not pleasant to us, then our happiness is gone. But of course, we call it happiness. This one also happiness. But second one is the jhana happiness. You don't need to rely on anything. Just sit down, just develop mindfulness. When you attain jhana, you will enjoy the bliss of jhana. It will last long. Nobody can destroy your happiness, jhana happiness, jhana happiness. But you stay. You depend on the mind, If your concentration, your samadhi is not good, you will drop. You will fall down from the jhana. So you still have to rely on the cheda, the mind, right? Mind. But Nibbāna happiness unconditioned. Your happiness not conditioned by anything. Even though you hear unpleasant sound, even though you eat unpleasant food, not conditioned your happiness. Your happiness is always stable, always stable. Stable kind of happiness. That is Nibbāna happiness. And I think if you look at this Sutta, you will see different level of happiness. Okay, any questions? Okay, question.
Bhante, I have 2 questions. One is, final Nibbāna, is it permanent? And the other one is jhana. Can you attain jhana by samadhi meditation or vipassana meditation?
Okay. Final Nibbāna happiness is permanent, not conditioned by any causes. Always happy. Your happiness is not conditioned by outside object. Even though the Buddha meet unpleasant people like a Devadatta, his happiness is not destroyed. He see unpleasant people as the unpleasant people. He see problem maker as a problem maker. His happiness is not always permanent. The first question. Second one is a second one. Sorry. Oh, jhana. Okay, thank you. Jhana can be attained with the concentrations. Samadhi. Vipassana is another type. We have two types of meditation. Samatha or samadhi, they're the same. Tranquility of the mind. The jhana, samatha, and samadhi, they are the same. They are the same. So when you attain jhana, your mind is tranquil, not overwhelmed with the by the defilement. So that is a tranquility of the mind. But inside meditation is a wisdom. So, but of course, inside meditation can be two types. Or inside meditation by using your wisdom. Suppose you achieve the first jhana, then your mind is tranquil, that is samatha. But at that moment, you're trying to use your understanding, your wisdom, your insight that the mental phenomena or jhana factors, just like a vitaka, vichara, they arises and they passes away. Piti, rapture arises in your mind, then you contemplate and you also notice they disappear. So the impermanent nature of jhana factors, they arises, they passes away. You use your wisdom, you use your insight, that is vipassana. Only you apply vipassana or insight, you'll be able to become Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Arahant. Even though you attain jhana for many years, if you do not practice insight meditation, you cannot become Ariya Pogala. Okay, thank you. More questions? Okay.
I thought there was someone behind me. Okay, so now, we have just learned how to eradicate feeling step by step on the way to Nibbāna, correct?
Intuit, yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, correct. First jhana, second jhana. This is how feeling, which is our greatest enemy, how we can eradicate it. And that is by obtaining the jhanas from first.
We will not use eradicate, because feeling cannot be eradicated. But what we have to eradicate is a craving, negative mental state. But here, actually, according to the Nibbāna Sukha Sutta, by attenuation of the sensation of feeling. Yeah.
Understand. So we've just learned how to attenuate feeling step by step.
Yeah.
From first jhana rupa level, right up to neither perception nor non-perception arupa level.
Yeah.
So it's attenuation. So let's say an arahant, he's so practiced, and he's able to attain right up to neither perception nor non-perception level.
Yeah.
And he experiences happiness without feeling, right? There's no more feeling.
But in the fourth arupa jhana, there is a little bit of feeling.
Yes.
But only the cessation of perception and feeling.
Understand.
Yeah.
So there's still some residue left.
Yeah.
But when he drops from jhana, he goes about his daily life in the monastery and all that, he definitely will have feeling.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Feeling will arise, come back
Understand.
again, come back.
But if he's an arahant, the feeling that he has is either is likely to be primarily neutral feeling accompanied by wisdom, right?
Oh, no, actually.
Oh, it can be
but
painful.
Even here, my note might lead to, it will lead to misunderstanding. So sorry for that. Actually, feeling cannot be eradicated. But here, just according to this soda. So, when you attain the first jhana, you attenuate feeling connected with the 5 physical doors,
Yes.
physical doors. By attenuation feeling, you drop defilements. The most important thing regarding with the Nibbāna is negative mental state. Feeling cannot be eradicated. Of course, it can be stopped for a while. The moment you attain the attainment of sensation of perception and feeling. But even though Arahant and the Buddha, so when they come back to the society, they will still see it. They will still hear it. So when they see, when they hear, they will encounter pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. Three type. If they hear somebody is criticizing them, unpleasant sensation will arise. So here, according to this sutta, so we are learning about jhanas. So when we learn the stages of jhana, later jhana trying to attenuate a grosser kinds of feeling. So by doing so, then you also have a lesser mental defilements.
Yes.
Suppose normally when you open your eye, suppose if you are going to many places, so you will encounter a lot of sensations. Your mind may not be, not at peace. Suppose when you are hearing a lot of unpleasant sounds, that is a sensation or vedanā. If you cannot cut down those sensations, if you cannot attenuate or lessen those sensations, then the negative mental state likely to arise. For that reason, when we go to meditation center, we try to attenuate or lessen our sensation.
Right.
When you go to meditation center, there is no feeling or sensation connected with your eye, less sensation, less feeling. But when you go to meditation center, quiet. You will not hear, The feeling or sensation connected with the ear, you're trying to lessen. The more you can lessen, attenuate the feeling, the more closer to Nibbāna. Nibbāna here means partial Nibbāna. So negative mental state cannot come in. If those negative mental states do not arise in your mind, you enjoy partial Nibbāna. What I mean is, attenuation feeling doesn't mean it cannot eradicate.
Right.
You still have a feeling or sensation, when you have a senses.
Right.
But of course, if you can attenuate your feeling or sensation, and negative mental state unlikely to arise,
Understand.
Okay.
So, thank you really for clarifying. So meaning that at the first jhana level, the 5 sense doors are shut.
Yeah.
And hence, feelings associated with sensual pleasure through the 5 sense doors do not occur.
Cannot arise.
Right. And then subsequently, as you go up,
Yeah.
whatever feelings that you have, they are really mental in nature.
Yeah.
Right. And you cannot eradicate these feelings even when you're sitting or in your daily life, but in your sitting, you can attenuate. And the more you attenuate, the less and less mental defilements you have.
Yeah, you're right.
And the less you're able to see like a polished mirror. So that's the
Okay,
objective.
Yeah.
Okay, so an arahant in daily life, when he goes back, he will still have the 3 feelings, or the 5
You're right.
feelings. It's
You're
just that
right.
he doesn't cling to them. He has
Yeah.
the wisdom, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and one last question. At the, I think it's 4th Rupa Jhana level, there is no pleasure, there's no pain, there's no equanimity, correct? So painful feeling is referring to the feeling in, I think you mentioned rupa. This would be the body and the form, but not the sense doors, right? The eye, the ear. The pain is the...
But here, I think you mean arupa jhana, right? Sorry. Actually, the microphone.
Doesn't matter.
I understand your. I hope I understand your question. What you want to say is the moment one take immaterial jhana, right? They don't have a pleasant feeling and unpleasant feeling. What they have only neutral feeling.
No pleasure feeling, there's no pain feeling. So I'm just wondering, the pain feeling is, and I think you put rupa. The pain is the rupa from the painful feeling, the rupa. Is it?
Yeah.
But
Your
not
body. Yeah, including your body. You don't have any sensation regarding with your body. Even though you're sitting, suppose you're sitting here,
Right.
if you attain immaterial jhana, even rupa jhana,
You have no
even
pain
find
in the-
material jhana, you will not feel
Yeah.
air. You will not feel anything. Only your mind is working.
Right.
Other senses shut down.
Right.
So for that reason, you can
Correct.
sit down many hours.
Correct. It's a completely different world. It's totally mental.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
And you
a,
just acted in that world.
yeah.
So the pain there refers to the rupa, the body pain, is it?
So actually, just
I shouldn't ask that question.
pain. Just actually, there's no pain.
Yeah,
no
correct.
pain,
Once
no
you're
pain
in
at
first
all.
jhana, I don't think there is any
There's no
pain
pain,
already.
Mm.
Yeah, okay.
Only the pleasure.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I think for regarding with the jhana, we will go one by one and using the sutras. So I think by that time, I think we will understand about jhana better. But just now, what I want to say is, just want to clarify partial nibbāna. So the moment you attain the first jhana, you don't have any perception and feeling regarding with the sensual pleasures. Question? Still a question? She want to ask question.
Bhante, if I go back to the first jhana, you mentioned about affliction. Affliction of thought that come in is suffering according to Buddha. Because if the first stage, any thought still can come in. And we need to recognize affliction as suffering as well, right? In order to progress to the second or even the third jhana.
But here, affliction here me, of course, in normal time, when you see pleasant things, you feel happy, right? You
Yep.
feel happy. When you hear a pleasant song, we feel very happy. That's happiness. That is a sensory happiness, right? But the moment you attain jhana, and is certain kinds of thought came in your mind, then you eat a good food last night. So that is a sensuality. So that a very, it's a gentle and subtle thought of sensuality came in your mind. Then as you are in the jhana, not at that moment, no jhana, no, not the first jhana. If the thought came in, you see as a sickness. Sickness here means, how to say, something that is unpleasant, But in normal time, when we think about a good food, when we think about lovely people, that's happiness. But when you attain jhana, when such a thought came in, that is affliction, that is sickness, that is unpleasant things, unpleasant feeling. Yeah.
But when the unpleasant feeling come in, how a person that attained first jhana perceive this? Will he see this as suffering by itself and know to drop this thought and not to continue? Because sometimes, thoughts can still come in. Because I believe that's why, we mention about the five senses.
Yeah.
You see, the five senses can go down, but your mind is still working.
Still working.
Memory come in, thoughts come in. And that creates some affliction. And that affliction, if we don't recognize as a suffering, we will continue, the mind will continue going round and round on that same thought. And I think that will actually affect the progress of, the jhana, I don't know, or whichever.
For that reason...
Because the mind is still there, although the five senses is away.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But the thought of sensuality will shape your jhana. So actually you enjoy the bliss of jhana at that moment.
Yeah, that's why there's also a thought.
Yeah,
there's also a thought.
The thought that came in. It's like, not very obvious.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
It's like the thought came in. But you afraid that you fall down from your jhana. Because of that, you don't like it. You see even such a very good sensual thought. Then you see it as a affliction and sickness. The moment you attain jhana, and the thought of your beloved one came in. Of course, the other time, when you're not meditating, that is very, very good. When you think about your beloved one, it's a happy feeling. But when you're meditating, that is a danger for you. That is affliction. Yeah.
Okay. Another question on equanimity feeling. Because when we look at feeling, there's three types: pleasant, unpleasant, neither pleasant nor unpleasant, which might not be neutral. Because when you say neutral, it can be, ignoring, I would say.
Okay.
So if we put it as pleasant or non-pleasant, then is equanimity that type of feeling we're referring to? Neither pleasant nor unpleasant. And how should we look at this particular feeling? Because many times we tend to drop them because it doesn't disturb us. Because normally we are happy with pleasant, unhappy with unpleasant. But usually we're very neutral to this type of feeling. So when equanimity feeling come in, is this the same type of feeling we're looking at? And how should we look at it in our meditation? Yeah.
So actually, the Buddha used the word Attoka Masukha Vedana. Neither painful nor pleasant feeling. But actually it's so long to say. For that reason, I use the word neutral. for easier way. But of course, when we are learning the jhana, we will use exact term. We are not using neutral, but we will use the word neither painful nor pleasant feeling. But for me, it's so long. But actually here, my point is only we will clarify when we are learning the jhana. So here, what I want to say is just want you to know Provisional Nibbāna. So actually, we will learn about jhana in details, but of course, I awaken many questions at that moment. So for the time being, just my point, my message is the Provisional Nibbāna. The moment you attain the first jhana, that you extinguish defilements regarding with the sensual pleasures. That's Provisional Nibbāna. But of course, if you attain full Nibbāna, 100% Nibbāna.
Because I'm trying to clarify equanimity feeling. Because normally equanimity, there's no personal judgment, no personal like, dislike, very objective. Am I right to say that? So that's why I want to clarify at the stage in mind, is that what we call the neutral feeling, the equanimity as well? Because you're not affected by anything that's happening, the sensation, for example.
Okay, I think it will take a lot of time to explain.
Okay.
I mean, what I mean is, can
Because
you wait?
I read the
can you-
sutta twice, I couldn't understand that.
I think, can you wait until we go to the
Well,
noble,
wait.
the Noble Eightfold Path? Because in the Noble Eightfold Path, we will learn about jhana and we will learn about four sublime state. So I think if you learn jhana and four sublime state, it will be clear. So I will talk about 10 type of equanimity. 10 type of equanimity using Visuddhimagga. Actually, Visuddhimagga, if you want to know about right now, please go to the Visuddhimagga. And Visuddhimagga, you go to the index page, equanimity. 10 type of equanimity. Maybe in the earlier part. So later I will go in details. So today I want to finish this part. I want to talk about 2 type of Nibbāna. Actually, this is not new. That is what we have learned right now. In the 5 suttas, under the name of Nibbāna, so the Buddha talk about 2 kinds of Nibbāna. Actually, these 5 suttas are very beautiful. So actually, I have already given to you. Did you do your homework? If you want to understand the subject deeper, trying to read. I think if you cannot read before you come to class, then read after the class. It will be more clearer. But if you can read twice, but better. Before you come, read the suttas. Then after you go and try to read again, then you will have a left. You will left reading the sutta. Very beautiful, really very beautiful. Everything is linking. In the 5 suttas, with the name of Nibbāna, so the Buddha talk about 2 type of Nibbāna. Number 1, Nibbāna in a provisional sense. Provisional sense. Another one, it is a temporary Nibbāna or momentary Nibbāna. So these are the moment one attains one of the 8 fine material in immaterial jhanas. Actually, we have learned in the Nibbāna Sukha Sutta, the moment you attain the first jhana, you attain partial Nibbāna because you extinguish defilements of the sensual pleasures. So that at that moment, you attain provisional Nibbāna or partial Nibbāna or momentary Nibbāna. Nibbāna in a non-provisional sense or the complete or final Nibbāna. The moment one attains the cessation of perception or feeling, Sanya Virita Nirodha with the total distraction or tames. Another one, becoming arahant. That is a complete Nibbāna. So according to commentary, non-returner, anagami, and arahant, only these 2 people can achieve the attainment of cessation of perception and feeling. Sanya Virita Nirodha. Because it needs a lot of concentration, a lot of samadhi to achieve this one. Only 2 people can achieve this level, can experience so the bliss of the attainment, cessation of perception and feeling. So at that moment, no mind. Mind totally cease. If you don't have no mind, no sensation, no perception. Only the body is functioning as normal. So because of previous karma, the mind totally blank. So only 2 people can achieve according to commentary. The commentary use another term for this one, Nirodha Samapatti. Cessation, attainment of cessation. But here cessation means cessation of perception and feeling. In other words, cessation of the mind. Mind totally cease. Only two people can achieve. So actually, two types of Nibbāna. One is a partial Nibbāna, another one a complete Nibbāna. Of course, according to earlier Sutta, so when you practice insight meditation, at that moment, negative mental state do not come in. At that particular moment, you attain partial Nibbāna or momentary Nibbāna, Tathēnga Nibbūda. So what are the 5 suttas on Nibbāna? Number 1, Sandaitika Nibbāna Sutta, directly visible Nibbāna. And the Buddha taught to the monks, what is directly visible Nibbāna? Nibbāna can be visible directly by yourself if you attain the first jhana. At that moment, you extinguish defilements on sensual pleasures. That is a partial Nibbāna. So when you become arahant, there's a complete Nibbāna. Complete Nibbāna. So that is a visible that can be achieved by anyone. Anyone. For that reason, is a directly visible Nibbāna. The next one is a Nibbāna Sutta. Nibbāna. Nibbāna here means 2 types of Nibbāna. Partial Nibbāna, a complete Nibbāna, right? When you attain, according to this Sutta, when you attain the first jhana, a partial Nibbāna. Second jhana, partial Nibbāna. 8th jhana, a partial Nibbāna. But when you become arahant, that is a complete Nibbāna. Non-provisional Nibbāna. The next one is a pre-Nibbāna Sutta. Actually, it's the same. Bhikkhu Bodhi translates as a final Nibbāna just for differentiate 2 terms. Actually, they are the same. In the Pali Canon, if somebody become arahant, Pali Canon use the word Nibbāyati, pre-Nibbāyati, the same thing. So the Nibbāyati, pre-Nibbāyati, it means to extinguish fires. Fire of lobha, dosa, moha. That is a Nibbāyati, pre-Nibbāyati, the same thing. So we have a misunderstanding that pre-Nibbāyati is the final Nibbāna. It's not so. It's not so. When you become arahant right now, you can use it pre-Nibbāyati. You extinguish defilements at that moment. Then you live another 50 years. Right? When you die, we can use 2 terms, Nibbāyati, pre-Nibbāyati. Then your 5 aggregate totally extinguished. Because this notion arises because of the Sutta, Mahapari니bbāna Sutta. Mahapari니bbāna Sutta record the last day of the Buddha, right? Final days of the Buddha. And it records the passing away of the Buddha. Because of that, the notion arises in the minds of the Buddhists. Pre-Nibbāna means final Nibbāna. It's not so. It's not so. Next one is Tathēnga Nibbāna Sutta. Actually, in earlier last week, Tathēnga Nibbūda. Tathēnga Nibbūda is the person who attained Tathēnga Nibbāna. Tathēnga Nibbāna means the moment you attain the first jhana, you attain momentary Nibbāna. Nibbāna in that particular respect. In that particular respect means you extinguish defilements on sensual pleasures. You extinguish desire on sensual pleasures. But of course, when you became arahant, that is a complete. At that moment, you attain Nibbāna in a particular moment, particular respect. Next one is a Dhamma Nibbāna Sutta. Nibbāna in this very light. That's very important Sutta. It's very important. The very beautiful sutta. Nibbāna in this very life. Many religions, they talk about afterlife. So their Nibbāna, their final goal, will achieve only when you die. But in Buddhism, you achieve final goal in this very life while you alive. Very beautiful term. Sandetika, Ditta Dhamma, Nibbāna. Nibbāna that you attain in this very life. Don't forget that Nibbāna, you attain Nibbāna when you die as Arahant. There's no more Nibbāna. You experience the bliss of Nibbāna only when you alive. When you're alive. That's very important. Otherwise, you have a misunderstanding that you achieve final Nibbāna after you die. It's not so. It's not so. Actually, we have many sutta that talk about Arahant and the Buddha. When they die, they extinguish just like a fire. We cannot say fire goes somewhere. No. Just like that, when you attain Nibbāna, right now, then you experience the bliss of Nibbāna. Then when you die as Arahant, then no more Nibbāna. Right? Everything is extinguished. Any question? Maybe one question? If you win? Okay.
Read the sutta on the final Nibbāna that Buddha achieved before he died. He go from stage 1 to 4 and 4 back to stage 1. Any reason why he did that?
Very good question. I think
Like you, then you go
In
back
what?
to primary 1.
we have a one sutta in, I think, after Nibbāna Sukha Sutta and following sutta, chapter 9, sutta number 35, and you study that sutta. So actually for those who are new to jhana, so they have to go one by one, one by one. Only after you are skillful in the first jhana, you can go to second. If you are not skillful in the first jhana, you cannot go to second jhana. You cannot jump. You cannot jump. But the Buddha and great disciples of the Buddha, they are very clever, They are skillful in the jhana. For that reason, they go from the first to 4 to, like this. Maybe because the Buddha, actually I didn't read the commentary why they do so, but I think the Buddha want to, we call it Attenuating in Pali. Attenuating. Attenuating is a determine in the mind, may this be so, may this be so. So to do that, he need to enter the jhana in different way. Because of that, he from the first to the eighth to the first like this. So, as you all know that when you read the commentary, the Buddha body is not extinguished, not fire with the fire, because waiting the arrival of Venerable Mahakassapa, right? So I think these may be the determination, or the Buddha make it a Attenuating, not to caught fire before the arrival of Venerable Mahakassapa. So actually, it's not a exact answer. I just conjecture, conjecture. So I think we have many books that talk about the last year of the Buddha. I think you can borrow from the library. I think you might know the answer. So thank you so much So let's call it a day. Yo vada tambhava romanu jesu sakyamuni bhagavakata kecho paragato bala vidiya samangi Dan sukatan saranatamu pemi ragavi ragamanincha masokan Dhamma masangata mapatikulan Marurami mampagunan suwipatan Dhammami mangsaranatamu pemi Yataja nama apalamahu Susi supuri sayugesu Atacha pogala dhammadasate Sangami mansaranatamu pemi Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Good night, everyone.